Hello, everyone. Pretty good turnout after last night. I hope everyone has had their share of coffee, maybe some Advil in some cases. After seeing yesterday's morning opening with that Hamilton take and knowing that I was going first thing this morning, which could be a tough crowd, I was thinking maybe I would do a little Hamilton thing myself. But hold the applause, because I thought back to my theater days. I used to do a lot of theater in middle school and high school, did pretty well. And then I decided that musicals were the next frontier. So I tried out for the lead in a musical. I made it pretty far, and then came the singing auditions, after which I found out I had been given a non-speaking role in the play, because they didn't even want to risk that I might try to sing on the stage. So I won't torture you with my singing today, and so I will just dive into the presentation instead. So I work at Forrester Research, and I'm here today to present on the topic of who will win the battle for mobile moments. And to give you just some quick background, if you're not familiar with Forrester, we work with businesses and technologies to help them deliver customer engagement strategies and thrive off of technology change. And I sit in the marketing research department, and I cover mobile. So mobile marketing strategies, as well as the mobile marketing technology landscape. And so what I do is I pull from our proprietary first-party data about consumer behaviors, what devices they own, how they use them, how they engage with other and with brands. We also have some mobile behavioral tracking data that we use to see how consumers are actually using their mobile devices. And then we speak with marketers to hear what your biggest challenges are, right? How you're setting the strategy. And then we speak with technology solutions to see how their solutions are helping to execute. So what I'm going to do today is to pull from all of those insights to talk about three core things. First, we'll look at how your customer brand expectations has evolved. Then we'll talk about what is the new marketing imperative to deliver to your customer in mobile moments. And then we'll look at what technologies are going to get you there, and have some fun thinking about the future of the technology landscape and who's going to capture these customer moments and what they're going to do with them. So we'll start with the mobile customer, who, as a hint, data shows that they're pretty demanding with their expectations. So we know that smartphone adoption is nearing saturation globally. It was growing rapidly. This just shows the adoption by the end of 2015, right? Where almost 3/4 of the population in large markets already had mobile devices, still increasing. And today, we find that we project that there are going to be 5.4 billion smartphones globally by 2020. So mobile's only going to become more important as a touch point. We also see from that mobile behavioral tracking data that consumers spend, on average, 126 minutes just on their mobile phone every day. And this was before Pokemon game came out. So this is very possible that there's been a huge spike, right? And we know that there are 1.5 million apps in the App Store. So they have a lot of different ways to engage with companies and with brands, and that they select, on average, 25 of these apps to engage with in a month. But when we look at the time spent, we see that 80% of that time spent within apps is within a top 5. And we also know that mobile plays an important role across that entire customer life cycle, right? From discovering brands to exploring them to buying them. And so just one data point here to prove that is that more than 1/3 of US online smartphone owners indicate that they research goods on their devices at least weekly. So people are equipped with mobile phones, they're spending a lot of time on those mobile phones, they're engaging via apps, and they're using their mobile device to help make important brand and purchase decisions. So this ushers in something that we call the mobile mind shift, because it is important to note that this is more than just a shift in time spent with the customer, it's actually a fundamental shift in the way that they engage and what their expectations are. Right? I no longer have to plan ahead. I can just act today. I expect the information that I want to be there. And that is our definition of the mobile mind shift. It's the expectation that I can get what I want in my immediate context and moments of need. So I, the consumer, expect any given information or service to be available to me on any device of my choosing, right, mobile or otherwise, and I expect it now. And data shows that I expect it to be relevant to me, right, contextually relevant to me and relevant to my interest. And the challenge here is that every good experience that I have further reinforces this, and every bad experience disappoints me. Right, we can even think about a simple task like getting directions. So I'm from Boston. Back in the day, I would have gone to MapQuest on my desktop computer, put in the directions of where I'm staying, put in the directions to here, mapped the location, printed it out, and carried it around with me and looked at it as I walked around Seattle. Now, I just go, step out of the hotel, expect Google to know where I am in less than a second, expect it to be able to find the address of where I'm going if I just start to enter the name of it, and I just go. And if Google, for some reason, doesn't know where I am, or if it takes not even a minute, right, a few seconds for it to know my location, I get really angry at Google, right? So this is the risk of disappointing consumers with their expectations. And so what you care about are the mobile moments. These become the next battleground to win, serve, and retain customers. And so a mobile moment we define as a point in time and space, which sounds very, very lofty, but it's because it can happen anytime and anywhere when someone pulls out a device to get what they want in their immediate context. Right? So that moment when I need directions and I go to my mobile phone. That moment when I'm in store and I want to know the ratings and reviews, right? So I fire up an app. This is the moment that brands care about delivering in and that technologies care about accessing. And there are 30 billion of these happening in the US online a day. When we think about how many devices people own just in the US, and that they fire up their device to glance at it between 150 and 200 times a day, 30 billion moments just in the US, just on a mobile device to reach them. And this is only going to get bigger. Right? There are going to be even more engagement opportunities that are going to multiply and morph over time as more devices and more technologies are introduced. In fact, we project that mobile moments are going to shrink into micro moments. So what we mean there is that not every interaction has to be lengthy. Right? I'm not always going to go and look up directions or look at ratings and reviews. Sometimes I just want to glance at my phone, right, to read that message, to see that push notification, to know that I've completed my steps for the day, or what have you. And research suggests that about 75% of moments today on mobile are these micro moments. The moment where you put information in front of your consumer that they can act on rapidly, right? Understand and act on rapidly. They're also going to, of course, extend beyond mobile phones, right? We all know this. We have our tablet devices and our desktops, but we also have emerging technologies too. You can even just think of the Apple Watch, right, where now your alerts are going to be available there. So these are going to continue to splinter. They're going to appear proactively in context. So now I have to go to my device in that mobile moment to tell it that I need something. In the future, my device will know that I need it, and it will proactively tell me. We're already seeing this. For example, Google Now knows that I have an event in my calendar, it knows the address, it knows the traffic, and it sends me an alert before I'm even thinking about it to let me know that I have to leave in 10 minutes to get there in time. And they're going to disappear into the ether. Customers aren't even going to know that they're happening. And as a quick example of that, here are a few scenarios that we have where this will happen. And I'll walk through this sort of car scenario that we see here. Let's say you're returning from the gym, you're in your car, you're listening to a song. And then you walk into your house, the song automatically starts playing on your in-home stereo because it was synced to your car and it knows what you were listening to. Also, through sensors in your shirt, it knows that your body temperature is high because you were just working out, and so it sends a signal to your Nest to say, at this time, we're usually 77 degrees, but let's go down to 70 to help them with their body temperature, right? And the consumer has to do nothing, right? The moments have disappeared. So what does this mean for everyone? Well, marketing is only going to get harder. There are going to be new connections available, new sources of data, Internet of Things, new location, and new touch points, right? New devices in which these micro moments are going to be happening, moments within the home, and new media, right? People are going to go to different sites. Snapchat, relatively new and very, very popular, right? Rolling out more and more advertising opportunities every day. Now we have Pokemon Go. Maybe that's a new platform in and of itself. And all of this boils up into new experiences, right? To piece all of this together to meet that customer expectation. So this is what the marketer is going to have to do. It doesn't look that easy, right? I know that many are already struggling with it, but this is going to be that new mandate, and marketers are going to need to deliver these experiences and need to partner with the right technologies to do so. So what does this mean? So first we'll talk about the brands. It's time to shift your approach to customer engagement. Your customer has undergone the mobile mind shift. It's time to undergo your own. Because old engagement tactics, even those just from digital, from online, right, still relatively new, don't work in this mobile world. It changes the who, what, when, where, and why of engagement. And it does so in the following ways. The who shifts from that customer segment to that individual. The what, in terms of what you actually send them, it's no longer that prefabricated message that you're going to send in an email at 9 a.m. It's going to be a personalized message that's dynamically assembled because it's relevant to that customer, and maybe they don't check their email, they just read push notifications, so you're going to send that instead. It's also when to engage, before triggered by the company event. Now will be triggered by that customer context. Where, and this language can sometimes seem odd, but before it was any location, meaning you had no control over the location. It was wherever they go online on their desktop, right, or when they're at work. Now, you have control because they have devices with them with you can engage at any time, so you can pick an explicit location, like when they're outside a store. And the why. Before it was to serve the business need or to react to the customer because they raised their hand to say that they need help. And now it is proactive to deliver on that customer need before they even ask to it. But marketers have some work to do, right? This is that ideal state, but when you actually talk to marketers, we know they have trouble getting there. So 44% of the marketers that we survey at Forrester are still at what we call the shrink and squeeze stage of mobile maturity. This is the first of 4 stages, and at this stage, what you're doing is just migrating over what you've done for desktop and other digital channels for mobile, just so you're there, just so it appears, but it's not necessarily optimized. We also see that 35%, only 35%, have best practices to guide their technology decisions. Only a fifth of them have the budget that they need to execute. And 55% are still experimenting with things like measurement, right, which are so core to building and optimizing mobile experiences. So as a result, they're falling short in these mobile moments today. Again, they're porting their strategies. They're losing insights also because they're working with a wide portfolio of point solutions who understand disparate parts of that customer journey but haven't brought it all together to be able to deliver with relevancy. And they're not planning across business units because mobile touches every part of that business, from advertising and discovery to exploring to when you're in the store to customer service, every single component. So they need help. Right, this is what technology needs to deliver for them. They have to ease the data management burden so that they can understand their customer. They have to be able to act with speed and agility. They have to unify that experience. And they have to be able to execute marketing in a coherent, simple way. So technology, got some work to do. Right? We have to catch up to these customers' real-time demands. And to do this, it demands something that we call the contextual marketing engine, which marries together systems of insight, where you're collecting that data on the customer and analytics, with systems of engagement, when you're actually executing and making the call of how to reach them. And the data and analytics are what fuel that engine so that you understand the customer. And the insights and automation are what drive the engine. Execute, actually engage, connect with the channels, dynamically assemble that message. But today, this isn't so easy. So thinking just even more about your digital strategies, which are much more founded than mobile, right, which is still emerging, we see that there are a lot of different technologies at play and that they're still at different sides of this technology house. And if you read these lists, right, you might see some of the companies that you either work with or that you are, right? Predictive analytics, mobile analytics, location analytics, loyalty management. So this is confusing as it is. And then we layer in mobile, which we have these new mobile technologies which are coming together to help solve some of the mobile unique problems. There's all these new data sources. I don't know how to bring them together, how to feed them into this insights. I have this app. How do I know how to analyze it? What are my customers doing? How can I monetize? So we see a lot of different technologies here, such as location intelligence platforms, who take all of these location hits and actually turn it into insights so that you can augment your customer profile because of it, so that you can bridge online-offline measurement. We have cross-device identity management, mobile analytics, in-app analytics, and as you can see, they're still beginning to start. Right, at this bottom axis, they're going from the creation phase where they're new and they're building to eventually equilibrium, where they are run-of-the-mill, everyone has them, there's nowhere else to go. And a lot of them are still at these early stages, right, still working out these problems. So what technologies are going to win here? Right, there's a lot to play with. As a marketer, you have this mandate to deliver to that customer in that moment, to engage with them in real time and pull together all of these insights and analytics and measurement to make good decisions and engage in that right moment. But there's all of these technologies out there to choose from, right? And then there's also all of these different touch points for you to think about with mobile. So how do you get started? So it comes down to this battle of the mobile moments. Whoever owns the mobile moment can plug into the mobile moment and can execute in that mobile moment, sort of wins from the technology side. And so who does that? For mobile dominance, you need three things, all three things. You want to ask, who has the consumer? So who has this mobile audience base where the mobile moments are happening? Who has the data? So who knows this customer at this level and has wrangled into insights so that they can act on it in a sophisticated way? And then who has the technology to do this really sophisticated execution? You need all three of these: the customer, the data, and the technology. So we're beginning to see now, it's a really interesting time, that the battle, both for owning the mobile moments and then having the technology to execute it, is starting. And so in these next few slides, I'm going to talk about the way that things are beginning to evolve, both from first the touch point perspective, then the data perspective, and then looking at some of the technology players and what might happen. So first, we're going to see intelligent agents battling brands and bots. I know we've talked about chatbots a lot at this really hot topic, and they're going to battle it out to capture the customer mobile moments. Because we know that customers today have so many digital touch points, and they want to consolidate them, right? They want less. They feel weighed down by all these digital touch points. So if they can have just a few that can deliver on their needs, they're going to work with just those few. And those are the companies that will own that mobile moment. So who will these be? Well, today, we see a lot of them. When we looked at that behavior and we saw 80% is spent within 5 apps, probably unsurprisingly, they were social networks, they were search engines, and then there were a few large brands that people go to frequently. And so we see the likes of Facebook, Snapchat, and then someone like Nike Plus, a brand whose app goes above and beyond just selling their products to actually becoming a running buddy that's with them every single day, right, and adding value so that they have this large Nike Plus community of millions, right? So these are the types of companies that today own the majority of mobile moments. But there are new ones that pose a threat. These are the chat bots, messaging apps, or whatever we want to call them today. And what they're doing is becoming services on top of other platforms that already have attention, and they are letting other companies plug into them. So now if you want to talk with a retailer, I no longer have to go to that specific app. I can go to Facebook Messenger and chat with them through that. So I'm no longer going to that retailer's app in this scenario, right? That retailer has lost direct contact with me in that mobile moment because it's happening through this intermediary, which is the messaging app. And because they're able to shortcut to relevant experiences to customers, because the customers want fewer digital touch points, we will see them begin to take mobile moments. But they won't win the day. There are the intelligent agents, a topic near and dear to my heart, such as the Google Now, Cortana, Siri, Alexa, who know so much about the customer and are providing so much value in helping to manage their day-to-day lives, and are companies that the consumer trusts to have this data, that they stand to own more mobile moments, right? Sort of in the future, the next 3 to 5 years here. Already, Google knows where I'm flying to. When I arrived here, I just went into Google Now and it told me what the temperature was, what were some things around me to do, what was my travel itinerary. I didn't have to go to any other sites. And so as they become more and more powerful with their artificial intelligence capabilities, as they also begin to integrate conversational UI like the messaging apps, and as more consumers begin to use them and integrate them into their lives, and brands plug in as well, they will begin to capture mobile moments. So brands are going to have to think about the fact that they will own fewer and that they will have to borrow these moments from these types of companies and platforms. So what happens from the data front? So here we have a few different players that are going to own data in different ways and have this different type of data economy. So what we have on the right is the brands, the apps of today, the companies. You own customer data. We've been doing this for decades with CRM systems, right? You know your customer. You know how they engage with you. You have app analytics in place so you know how they're engaging with your apps and what their preferences are. And then you also have customer context from what they've told you, if they trust you. Right? So what are their preferences for communication? What are topics that they care about? Do they want you to integrate with their Fitbit information, right? Will they let you know their location? And in this case, what a company can tell is who is their customer, are they inside my store, how can I serve them in that moment? But that data and that context sort of exists within this silo. So then we have our platforms, once again, who begin to go beyond the siloed approach, such as Alexa. So Amazon already knows a lot about you. They know your purchasing behavior. They know a lot of the retail activities that you do. But now, through these APIs with brands, third-party data integrations, they're able to know even more. I can order my Domino's pizza through Amazon. I can search kayak for flights that I want under $500 to somewhere tropical through Alexa, right? So Alexa, through these integrations, and Amazon is gathering more and more data about me from a myriad of different sources and getting a bigger picture of who I am as the consumer. So they have this ecosystem approach to data. And then we have these new data sources that are coming in all the time, right? Sensors, your car sensor, your thermostat at the home, sort of the Internet of Things, which is going to know even more contextual data around the customer coming from different sources, and that will exist sort of as this unique stream of data that these other two will try to integrate with. So this is where the consumer data can live in a myriad of different ways. So how does this boil up into the technology? Right? Because remember, you need the customer, you need the data, but then you need the technology. And today, nobody has it all. Right? We know Facebook, Google, Apple, they own a lot of the mobile moments, and they're continuing to own more, right? By launching their own branded apps like Apple News through these third-party integrations, Facebook by launching Facebook Messenger and new services, but what they don't have is the technology yet. And then we have the mobile point solutions, And we also have the existing marketing suites out there who have the technology in place, but don't necessarily have that same access to the customer and the data. So we're going to see a few different things come to play here. And I'll explain these further in the next slide. But as a teaser, we'll see that mobile moment owners are going to acquire. These platforms are going to try to build up their technology chops so that they can be the ones to execute and deliver in the mobile moments that they own. We see the mobile-first technology companies are going to continue to innovate. Mobile is tricky. Mobile is new. They are small. They are agile. They're speedy, right? They're able to do this. And so they're going to be the ones to help sort of at the ground level understand how to tie your technology and data together to execute in real time. And then our cloud vendors are going to rest on their client laurels for a while, right? Sort of stay in tune with where marketer maturity is, but then they're going to rise to the rescue of these open ecosystems by growing their mobile capabilities so that customers and brands can reach mobile moments anywhere they're occurring. So what does this play out as? Who will Pac-Man their way to dominance? So first we start with the young mobile point solutions. A lot of people think that these aren't necessarily contenders. They're smaller, they're new, they're sort of these near-term Band-Aid solutions while we figure out mobile. But that's not the case, right? They're agile, they're on the ground, they're understanding these data sources in a way that, for example, the cloud vendors aren't yet thinking about or executing or integrating, right? So they hold a lot of potential. But as we saw in that marketing technology radar, a lot of them are new and trying to fix different pockets, whether it's piecing together across devices, whether it's understanding what's happening in app, whether it's actually delivering messages in app, right? They're all sort of from different spaces. So first thing they're going to do is acquire or partner with one another to allow for a more holistic approach. Then we see these marketing cloud vendors Pac-Man the mobile point solutions. So today, they are not where innovation is coming from, to be honest. And the reason for that is that many are public, and so what they want to do is think near term about what will drive results, and what will drive results is executing on what your clients are asking for today, not what they need to ask for tomorrow. So what they're going to do is focus on that and then pick up point solutions as customer demand gets there. And then we have the platform giants, right, which I alluded to in these other slides, which are going to have so much audience and data that they may even acquire one of these marketing cloud solutions to become sort of this giant who owns and executes in the mobile moment, can harness all their first-party data to deliver. So this is one sort of scenario where we can see technology going. But that's not necessarily what will happen. There can be disruptors to this case. For example, one of the platforms may have a data breach, right? And people block off all their data, and then they lose that power. A new platform can come to rise, which owns that mobile moment, and they begin to enter this sort of battle as well. Or the mobile point solutions can scale and make enough, sort of build out their solutions enough that they begin to be able to deliver in the mobile moment and then scale to other channels as well and sort of start from that ground-up approach. So what should you look at for today? Right? Not all of these things are happening yet. The intelligent agents are still a couple years out from sort of the world dominance that we just explained here. So this year, the biggest things to look for are, from the marketing perspective, focus on delivering customer value and not messages. Right? Think about that new engagement model where you're delivering on their needs and context. Look at these platforms and ecosystems that are rising. It is good that we were talking about chatbots so much during this because they are owning more of those mobile moments. And think about what it means. Should you be thinking about creating or developing an integration with one of them so that you own that customer moment, or so that you're there when they look for you instead of one of your competitors, right? To gain that competitive advantage. And from the technology side, look for mobile technology acquisitions and partnerships, right, some of which we've been hearing about while we've been here, to deliver on this contextual marketing engine vision for mobile. So these are some of the things to look out for. Thank you for your time. I'll be hanging around if anyone has any questions about this. And good luck facing this future. Thank you.